Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a hopefully quiet and calm conversation. Sometimes we get a little excited. We hope you will enjoy, listen, and maybe even sleep during this podcast. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm your co-host, Nidhi Khanna.
Sometimes you say co-host, and sometimes you say host.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're both hosts. We're both co-hosts. So I'm your co-host. Does that make sense?
We're both co-hosts. It's true.
And I'm also a host and you're a host.
It's true. I'm your host and I'm your host.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I gotta I never noticed that before.
I only notice it because I edit, right? So I hear
yeah.
sometimes I'll edit episodes back to back.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I was driving by a field of wheat. Recently.
Okay.
Wheat. W-H-E-A-T, wheat. And Nidhi, you know, I often hear about people on the prairies and how when you drive by wheat, it almost looks like the sea going back and forth, and it has a very relaxing sort of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Even the color itself, the color of wheat, is a beautiful, calm color for me anyways. I find it very calm and relaxing.
It also sounds like you keep saying a field of weed.
Oh, is that what it sounds like? Wheat. Wheat.
Which is fine. It's
yeah,
like
listen,
another
I'm sure that's calm and relaxing
it's
for
good
people.
and relaxing too.
I will say this. So, and I talk about this because I'm often driving up north past farmlands and things. And it's impressive to see the different crops and the colors that they bring with them. So I believe it's canola that's very, very yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I was in, okay, this is going to sound really, is the word bougie of me? Like when I sound...
I love where you're going, wherever this goes. I really enjoy the fact that, let's hear your bouginess, Marco.
Okay. So, I hope I get this right. You know, I was a tour guide in Europe.
Yes.
And our
ourselves ready. And you were on it was a bicycle tour guide. Yeah, you are the bougiest.
So...
Bougiest. And most hipster.
Did I use this right? I'm so not hipstery. If you look at me, particularly now, I said to Nidhi, I'm like...
He's in like a gray t-shirt and...
stained shorts. I was even like, Nidhi, I had to race here. I wanted to change. I dropped some coffee on my shorts in the worst place that you could drop coffee on your shorts, if you can imagine. But I was at my sister's house, and because we're doing our basement, I don't have laundry right now. So I said to my sister, "Can I do some laundry at your house?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, of course." So I took off my pants and threw them in the laundry, but I didn't put any stain remover on the stain, and I had to do it was a light small load, so the stain it just looks worse. It just looks worse, Nidhi. Anyways, back to my travels and my bougie statement. So our European headquarters was in Beaune, France.
Okay.
So France is beautiful, and Beaune is in Burgundy, and they have the Gold Coast, is what they call the Gold Coast.
Sure.
But it's in the middle of France. It's not on a coast, right? And part of our sort of end of season wrap up was we were going to get on bikes and ride the Gold Coast. And so I was like, what is this they're talking about?
Because wouldn't that... Normally the Gold Coast is like in Australia, right?
Right. There's the Gold Coast in Australia. And they call it... how do you say that in French? Côte d'Or. Right. Thank you. And I was going to say Côte d'Azur, but that's not...
That's in France, though.
Yeah. But that's not where it was. How quickly this is turning from bougie to Marco doesn't know anything.
Well, and also bougie stands for bourgeois, so there we go. All the French.
All the French I should have learned. So we're riding along these beautiful hills in Burgundy, and I'm like, and I remember turning to the guide that was beside me. I'm like, why do they call it the Gold Coast? I never understood that. And we went up a hill and around, and it was in September, and all the
wheat.
All the leaves of the grapes that they grow for the wine had turned yellow.
Oh.
And it was just to see, and the sun was hitting it in the right, and it was just, all it was golden leaves, golden leaves, golden leaves. And it was as if the French gods had slapped me in the face to say, this is why it's called the Gold Coast. It was spectacular.
Oh,
spectacular.
Gosh.
You never sort of think about, like, you know, all the work that goes into planting these crops and raising the crops, and then you see the beauty of it. Like, have you ever seen a field of sunflowers?
Beautiful.
And how the
They're so
sunflower
big.
turns with the sun?
Yeah, so crazy.
Yeah.
But okay, but how did that make you bougie?
Because I'm riding around in the Gold Coast of
Okay.
France. I guess I guess it didn't, but I should have told it better. I should have told it. And then I turned the corner, and I was like, there.
Well, what you needed to do was also take out in your basket a picnic of like wine, olives, cheeses, and just lay in the field having.
That's what I did every day.
Oh.
I would have, like, it's so funny because I would have to prepare these baskets and these picnics for people, but I had to work to do that. It wasn't fun. It wasn't like, it's like, okay, they're coming around the corner. I gotta have all the spread out. Do I have enough cheese? Do I have the
You've
right?
had some great stories from that.
I've had some
stories
great
that we can't reveal on here.
No,
but
no.
yeah, it was.
Would you ever do a bicycle tour?
I don't know. I'm not a big bicycle person.
Okay.
But possibly.
What about a hiking tour?
Hiking? I would do.
I did a hiking tour. I did some hiking tours.
Yeah, I like I hiked Cinque Terre.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, I would do hiking.
Yeah, I was a
Probably more than I
guide
would
for
bike.
the Piemonte, the west region of Italy. I wasn't a good hiking guide, I don't
No,
think.
why?
I used to get lost. Every
You're like, where's this compass? What is this
no,
compass?
we would never use a compass. It was always like, oh, damn, where do we turn? Another
You're like
vineyard?
taking out the map.
It's like, do I turn left or right at this vineyard? They all look the same, Nidhi. Plus, I'd have wine, and it'd be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Come on, no one else then needed to know either.
I
They were
guess.
they were all wind up too.
Mm-hmm.
So
As long as you lead with confidence. I remember getting to a dead end, like making people march down this field for like a good 20 minutes, and then I realized we went the wrong way. That's not a good feeling. But I always had
story.
I was always like, some of the best times you'll ever have are getting lost. That's what every guy
Is it
says.
also very Italian where it's like, you know,
That just
there's
adds.
a dead end.
Look at the view from
Look at
here.
the view.
You wouldn't get this view. Nidhi, every tour guide will always say some of the best experiences you'll have is when you get lost. And that's just guide speak for I'm lost how I'm going to turn this lemon into lemonade. None of my best experience ever happened when I was lost.
When I was in Italy, I always found it really funny because I would find sometimes it was before kind of cell phones really,
Sure.
before you looked on cell phone maps and stuff like that, or had GPS on your phone, and so, I'd ask someone to guide me, like on the street or whatever, and it would be really funny because you could tell, like, they were kind of, some of the locals were a bit like, oh, you speak Italian, okay,
Right.
I wasn't expecting that, right?
Mhm.
Like, from this, like, brown tourist, right? And so, so first they would have that moment of, okay, so I can respond in Italian. But then you could also see them not know. Like, you would know when they didn't know, and it would be like, they would still direct you. Like, you would still, no matter what, like, you could tell 100% this person does have no idea where this monument or this random, obscure, I don't know, thing that I'm looking for, place that I'm looking for, and yet I'd still get directions. Like, I really just don't think that that's right.
My favorite expression in Italian. Before I even say that, I want to say that you and I need to go to Italy together.
Oh my God, we'd have so much fun.
I would love it. We need to do this podcast in
Italy. Done.
I think our listeners would love it. If
I
we're
think
like,
so too.
this episode was recorded in Rome.
Yeah.
People would love it. There's an expression in Italian, which is dritto, sempre dritto, which means straight,
Means straight.
keep going straight. And it's a direction that they'll give you, right? You'll be like, how do I get to this castle or this spot, this piazza? And they'll be like, okay, go 200 meters, you turn right, and then, at the first little bar, you're going to turn left, and then for, 800 meters, dritto, sempre dritto, straight, always straight, just keep going straight. Nidhi, when you hear those words,
You know.
that there's not one road in Italy that is ever straight. I'll never forget, I was on that, they told us, we had very little gas in the car. I was borrowing my cousin's car, and we couldn't figure out how to open the gas. It was different. It was it was weird anyways. This was years ago. And so we didn't have enough gas, and we went to Cremona, was the city, and we had to get back to Brescia. And we're like, we better get back. We don't have the gas, and we can't figure out how to deal with this. gas situation here. And so we asked the woman, like, how do we go? And she's like, turn on the highway and then go drito sempre drito. Sure enough, we turn on the highway, it forks.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, what happens now? And sure enough, Nidhi, I'm like, do I go straight? Or what seems straight? Or should I veer to the left? And the person I was with was like, well, I don't know, veer to the left. So we veered to the left. And it was like, we probably should have gone what seemed straight. Anyways, it was fun. It was fun.
But isn't it fun, like, getting lost sometimes in Cinque Terre, we, when we arrived, so it was two friends of mine who I was traveling around with, and, at one point, we were in this village, and we turn around, and it was, one of the friends that I was with, he's gone. And it's like, where did you go? We have no idea, right? And so we, like, both me and my friend that I was with was like...
Sorry, this is in France?
This is in Italy, in Cinque Terre.
Okay.
And so we turn around and we're like, okay, we gotta go find him, right? Like, but then we also didn't have a place to stay yet. It was a very chaotic moment. And we're just like... We were also really upset because both me and her were like, he knows that we need to find a place to stay.
Right.
And, like, where is he? Like, what did he do?
Sure. And
so for like a half an hour, Marco, we're sitting there like trying to find him, going back, retracing our steps, and then we're like, okay, let's go back to where we last saw him, and then we're walking, and then we walk up this cobblestone lane, and we turn around, and he's right behind us, and we're like, where have you been?
Where was he?
He's like, I never left.
He just peeled back and watched you guys go crazy?
He obviously left, but he will not admit that he actually left.
Are you still friends with this gentleman?
No,
okay.
neither one of them. But we did find a gem of a place. In Cinque Terre, what's the first village?
I've never been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Marco.
I'm going to call this the bougie episode because it's just us talking about really bougie things. Okay, I'll give you time to think about the place. Did I ever tell you about the time me and Amanda, and once again, I'm just going to go bougie all the way, hopped on a decommissioned train in Spain? So we hop on this train, and there's no one on the train, and I don't know why we hopped on the train, right? And I can speak Spanish. I can speak a bit of Spanish. So we're on this train, and I'm like, there's no one on this train, and the lights are off, but we got on somehow. I'm like, this doesn't seem like the train. So I'm like, I think we should probably get off. So as we're sussing that, all of a sudden the train starts it starts to go, right? And I'm like, wait, there's no one on this train. There's no one on this train.
It was going to like a scrap metal yard or something.
So we pull into a station, and it wasn't like, we didn't pull into like a major, we weren't in Girona at this point. We were in some little, I don't even know. It didn't even seem like a proper station. It seemed like the station where the conductors go to have a smoke. It didn't seem
the smoking station.
So then I'm like, oh my God, like we're the only, so we go from cart to cart until we find someone.
This is like a bank heist waiting to happen.
And the person says, what are you guys doing on this train? And we're like, I don't know.
We're just tourists.
We're just tourists. Please don't bring us to your smoke station. And so he's like, rolling his eyes. He's like, now I got to deal with these stupid tourists, right? And so we had to walk like the length of the station. So where this train stopped was not right at the station, but where trains pull off for service.
Sure.
And so he walked with us back to the station, this small little station. We waited at least 40 minutes for a proper train to arrive in this small town to take us to, I think we were going to Girona, which is in the region of where they speak Catalan. Catalonia is what I'm trying to say. And there you go. There's that little story. What's your next bougie story?
Oh gosh, what's my next bougie story?
You must have some Montreal bougie stories. Okay, I've got another one.
Okay.
So, I used to live in New York City. I'm just name dropping like all these cool places.
These are all really...
It's just...
I was just about, as you said, I used to live in New York City. The story that I was thinking about
Do it. Go for it.
I used to live in the south of France.
Do it. People are going to listen to this show. This is the show where people are going to hate us. Where we've got a lot of listeners who love us and are like, well, they're so... Like, we get some beautiful... And thank you for these
beautiful messages.
reviews and whatnot, where it's like there's so much, and now they're going to be like, these two are smug. All they talk about is going to
I know.
wonderful places.
I know.
But the funny thing is, Nidhi, when I was in these places, I had no money. It's not like I was living.
No,
It's not like,
that's the best part. It's like literally you have nothing, and so you're sleeping on a beach, and that's where these stories come from.
or I backpacked, and one time I went to Europe backpacking, and my backpack didn't make it. So I had gone to London, and my backpack went to, I think it was called Ponte Delgado.
Oh my God.
Delgado. I don't even know where that is. And then it went back home, and I was backpacking for 2 months without a backpack. It was insane.
Oh no.
So I had to buy a new backpack, but I didn't have anything. Like, I had the clothes that were on me.
Literally.
right? And so then I went on a shopping spree. I was like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. No, what
And-
can you do?
yeah.
You just have to get everything back. No. I used to work. I did an internship at the Four Seasons in the south of France.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. But it was in this remote area about a half an hour from Cannes, and so there was one bus that left. The buses only ran Monday to Friday. There was a bus at 8 a.m, and then there was a bus leaving Cannes to come back at 5 p.m.
That's it.
That's
Good
it.
luck.
So you were stuck in this.
And this is before Uber and Lyft.
All of yes, everything. And so they had a little staff house where all the staff would be, and I was significantly older than most of the people in there because I was doing my post-grad and it was an internship for that. And
So your French must be awesome. I knew you speak French, but
not anymore. I haven't spoken it in a really long time. But I understand it. I'm streaming something on Netflix right now in French. And I'm
amazing.
I don't actually need the subtitles for this. But yeah, so that was, but it was one of those things where it's like, let these be my problems. I was complaining about, being in the sunshine in, the middle of France. And it's like, all I could do is go to the lake on the weekend. All I could do is go out to the club when someone else would drive. It was a total city girl having a country experience
Sure.
for the first time.
Sure.
And so because I was working I was doing my internship as part of my MBA, and as part of my internship I had to do this competitive analysis and this kind of analysis of the resort and make these recommendations. And so they were like, it's really important that you understand fully how this place operates, what is the brand promise, what makes us better than other luxury hotels. And so in order for them to do that, this is the bougiest part of the story.
Oh, I love it. Everyone settle down, here it comes.
They literally were like, you should just spend a week at the spa, spend a week doing this, spend a week doing that. One weekend they gave me a car to drive around the France to understand the location that I was in. So because of the competitive analysis of why would people choose this?
How was that part of your trip?
It was amazing. It was also
how was the spa part? Tell me about the spa.
And then afterwards, it was really funny because at the end they were so nice to me, and I did pretty much a elevated business school project. When I look back on now, I'm like, oh. But I guess it was okay.
No,
because,
but some of those projects can lead to,
Yeah, no, it was they gave me a lot of support. They were really great. And
what was your favorite part of the spa? I'm just going to delve.
But this is the whole thing. At the end, after giving me all these things, they were like, we want to thank you. And they gave me a day at the spa, a massage. And they were like, go spend the day in the pool. And I was like, how did I hit this jackpot?
Well, listen, you know what? When in the south of France,
Yeah,
you just
do.
roll with it. What are things you love to do in spas, or is there something? You seem like a spa type person to me.
Yeah, I'm a total
You seem
spa, yeah. I enjoy a good.
Don't say robe because we did that already. So
That's right. Can I tell you? Before you arrived today, I did have that robe on, and I was like, I can't do this, Marco. I cannot answer the door in sweatpants.
You can always answer the door in that robe. You can always.
Natasha Lovato's.
Shout out to Natasha.
Shout out.
She has some great bougie stories. Natasha,
I
because
bet.
I worked for this company that did tours, and then they needed someone, and she had just either left her job or something had happened. She was no longer working at the place, and so I was like, I have the perfect person for you. And they're like, what? I'm like, I have the most perfect person. I don't know if she'll accept this job because she has other opportunities, but so then I kind of said Natasha's name, and I called her up and I said, listen, if you want this job, you know, I don't think you have to fight too hard. Your credentials speak for themselves. And she got it for 2 years. She was she worked in Italy, and you know, then I would go visit her.
Amazing.
And she would take me to all these wonderful places and just be like, I remember I was like, I need to bring something back for Amanda, who I wasn't married for at the time, and I want to bring something special. She goes, I'm going to bring you to a stocking store where you can get really beautiful stockings. And I'm like, what?
So random.
She's like, this is what everybody's wearing here, blah, blah, blah.
What?
So I bought, Nidhi, I've never been to a place that just sells stockings or nylons, I don't know what you call them.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought, and then I'm in the store feeling all the differences in their, you know how they are. And then I had an espresso in the store, and then the salesperson was laying out all these stockings to me, like, and then they wrapped it in. I was like, okay, I guess I'm buying stockings, and I brought stockings.
That's hilarious.
And Amanda's like, they're beautiful, but I'll never wear them. Like, okay, well, there you go.
They ended up in a clothing swap.
Yeah. So,
that's hilarious.
But my New York story,
yes,
to get back to
please.
it. And then I need to hear, you haven't been to New York?
I have.
Okay, so then I need to
I just
hear.
haven't been in a while.
So, I have a friend in there, and he's like, let's go to this speakeasy in the Lower East Side. This was years ago, before the Lower East Side was the place to be. And he takes me down this alley, and I'm like, dude, this is kind of sketchy where we are right now. He goes, just wait for it. And you know, the alley, as you can imagine, a dingy, scary New York alley didn't have the nicest smell either.
Mm-hmm.
And he knocks on the door, and you know those little tiny square pieces on doors that people will slide?
Open? Yes.
It slid. The person looked in, didn't ask for a password, but my buddy said, you know, John so-and-so sent us. It slid back. It opened.
Oof.
And I walked into the Great Gatsby.
No.
All of a sudden, Nidhi, it was surreal.
Bougiest of the bougies.
It was like, there was all the waitstaff were in tuxes.
Wow.
And I just saw, like, walking past me was a tray of oysters.
What?
And then champagne buckets. And there was a live band. And there was people drinking cocktails. And everybody was dressed up. And people had cigarettes. And it was like, it felt like I walked into the 1920s, into the Great Gatsby. It was incredible. And I couldn't tell you where this place is. It almost seems like a dream, but I swear I was there.
Wow. Wow.
I pass the baton to you. What's your New York story?
Oh, you know, I haven't been back to New York in a really long time. I'm due for a trip, actually, this year.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
there
so
we go.
It's like, on your private jet? On your private jet? Or are you going to take a
The best part about this is like, you know, like a moment before we were talking about like this year just being really rough for both of us. Like if you only went by this podcast, it would sound like we were some sort of jet setters.
It's funny because we were talking about how rough this year has been for us. You know, but here's the thing. A lot of people listening will be like, yeah, I'm having a rough year too.
It's true.
But you know, in this episode, we've managed to reflect back at some of the bougiest moments in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's put us in a good mood.
Yeah.
So if you're going through a rough time right now, we're with you.
Yes, we are.
And, you know, we sympathize and we can totally relate to it. And we hope you'll get out of that rough time. But if you can think or vicariously live through our bougie moments in life, please feel free. If you want to take my stories and use them as your own,
go for it.
Go for it. Just
enjoy it.
Tell people the story about me lost on a train and use it as your own. I give you total permission to use my stories. But I think you made
a good point before where it's like, you know, a lot of these stories are from, it's not like we were living like, you know, we were literally backpacking or
you were paying for these expensive spas.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they came out of your pocket.
No,
right?
No.
Yeah.
Or we were just like, we were making it work on, you know, baguettes.
Yeah.
And cheese.
I mean, the plush robe that you love was someone else's. Let's point that out.
100% someone. These are most of the clothes.
And I will say this: sometimes the least bougie moments in your travels are the ones you remember.
Oh yeah,
best.
I remember. So here's here's a good bougie one. So when I was leaving Italy, because I did an exchange semester there, and I stayed on in Milan for a few days after everyone had left, and I'm not quite sure why I did that, but I decided to treat myself to a massage at the Gucci Hotel.
Oh my goodness, Nidhi.
I think it was the Gucci Hotel.
You waited till the end to
the
drop this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from way back when. And so, it's actually lessons in customer service, Italian style.
You can use this story that Nidhi's about to tell as your own.
I
right?
haven't told this story in a really long time.
But it's great.
And so, you go in, and there's a beautiful pool and a lounge and a waiting area. And there's also a steam, kind of like a communal steam area, which nobody warned me was communal. And nobody warned me. So I put on my bathing suit, went into the water, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, great, let me go into the steam room. So I had my bathing suit on in the steam room. Well, I walk in, and again, it's a communal steam room. However, there was this large, very, very large man who decided that in a communal steam room, that what he would use instead of a bathing suit was a paper man's thong.
Yes.
You would use for an aesthetic service.
Nidhi, you're in Europe, right?
I know, it was totally one of those.
What's funny is this happened to me in Sweden.
Oh,
okay,
really?
but continue. Yeah, now I sound really good.
And I was like, what do I do? Like, it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, don't freak out, but at the same time, it's like this guy was like taking enough like up space, and it was like I can't look at it, but it's like it's there.
It's an eclipse,
it's
right?
Like,
it's an eclipse.
Oh, it's the Bulgari hotel. Yeah. Anyway, so I was.
What did you do? Was it just you and this man in paper thong?
Yes.
Wait, so you're at a luxury hotel.
Yes.
One of the most luxury hotels in Europe.
Yes.
You know, after a fashion house.
Yes.
You're in a beautiful steam room.
Yes.
I picture marble everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. Italian marble, beautiful, you know.
Are you sipping water?
Oh, yes, there's like infused water, before infused water was a thing, you know.
It's you and a man in a paper thong.
Very, very large, hairy man.
In a paper thong.
And I was just like, what do I do? And so then they came and called me for my massage, but I was really I was really frazzled for the entire, I couldn't relax. And then at the end, I did in what must have been my most like, they literally were like, so I complied. And right, I complained because I was like, "This is not okay." And then they tried to. So then the woman called the manager because I was like, "This shouldn't be happening. Like, you have to enforce a bathing suit of some kind because it's unhygienic. You're in a sweaty steam room, and this man's basically got his entire thing. Like, he's in a paper thong."
I think he thought he was being respectful, being in the paper thong, because he could have been like
100%. He thought that, right. And then they were trying to explain to me, well, you know, it's a communal space. Yeah. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm like, my problem is not with it being a communal space. My problem is with people not wearing attire in the communal space of any kind, virtually any kind.
I think you should be allowed to be naked in a communal spot.
Okay, but then say it. Then you
wanted a sign?
I wanted either either.
No, Nidhi, you're in Europe. You're in Europe, all right?
Let it all hang loose.
Play by different rules. My Swedish story is different. It was a communal spot, and everyone was naked.
Oh, okay, but that's different.
And as a North American, and at that time I think I was 17 because it was a school trip.
Ah.
And so we're in this communal spa, a bunch of us, all in our bathing suits, and these people just traipse in naked as if it's nothing, and it's very cultural. That's what Swedes and people in northern countries do. So which is cool.
But then expect that, but don't put like the whole thing was just really weird.
Fair.
And there was no like towel.
I'm not judging.
No, I know that.
And I think the Nidhi of today may have reacted different than
for sure. But the Nidhi of then managed to complain enough to actually get the massage comped.
Love it.
So I left without having to pay anything. And that was my bougie luxury.
Oh, Nidhi.
Luxury story.
I might use this story as my own.
And part of it was also I had just spent I had just spent the summer in France working at another luxury hotel,
Right.
so I knew also
How to complain?
How to complain at luxury hotels. So that was probably my bougiest of bougie moments, because it's like now I've cracked the code of like white privilege.
It's so great. Nidhi, can I just
How
say
do I
this?
complain at a luxury hotel?
Yeah, what is the best tip you would give our listeners if they have to complain at a luxury hotel?
I think at luxury hotels, like really what they really want to make it okay, and they would rather take the hit financially than have to deal with complaints. So at certain hotels, they're also evaluated based on whether or not some of these complaints are resolved.
Oh, interesting. So would it be safe to say, lodge your complaint, be steadfast with it, but don't go crazy?
Yeah, like be reasonable.
Be reasonable.
Be reasonable, and don't be rude.
Okay.
Like just don't be one of those people.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, this was the Bougie episode.
It was.
Nidhi, thank you for taking me on this journey. I apologize to any listeners who may have been offended by anything that we said or how bougie we sounded. We're really not like that, but like I said, feel free to use our stories how you wish. And we hope you had a great time listening to this episode, because I had a great time
So did I.
being on it.
As always, the Insomnia Project is produced by Drumcast Productions, and we were recording in Toronto.
A kind of bougie
A
city.
kind of bougie city, depending on where and what places you frequent. And as always, we hope that you listen and sleep.